Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about the film Creed. When talking about a movie franchise, and especially talking about a movie franchise like the Rocky films, you have to think about what that franchise meant to the younger generation who was seeing it through their fathers and seeing it through their older brothers and were in love with it as kids growing up with it, and what that meant to them, both as their perception of what an adult's like, what a man's like, but also how they can take that franchise they know and love and turn it into something new. And that's really what Creed is doing. It's very much a Rocky movie. It's like the structure of a Rocky film, everything like that, but it has a whole new character in Adonis Creed, played by Michael B. Jordan. It shows how personal these franchises can be to some people. The director of this film, Ryan Coogler, grew up watching the Rocky films with his dad, and they meant a lot to him. And as his dad got sick, he thought of a story where Rocky would get sick, because that's what Rocky represented to him. Because for a lot of people, Rocky kind of represents the baby boomer type generation that, if you're my age, was kind of like the age group that your dad and your mom was in. And to see him get older and getting sick is emotional in a way that taps into something that we've known for a very long time. We've known the iconography of Rocky. We've known the legend about him. But seeing that legend getting towards the twilight years is emotional. It reminds us of our own mortality, certainly, but it taps into something really about ourselves and what those movies represented for us as a culture and us very personally. And I think Creed takes a franchise and makes it personal in a way that removes all of the facts that this is like the seventh Rocky movie and this franchise will never die. Franchises are like ongoing myths at this point, and they represent key moments in our lives, key relationships to certain family members that are important to us. And Creed probably gets that more than any franchise entry I've ever seen in any franchise, really, because it understands how the Rocky films were films that you could sit down, not really my dad, but I'm talking in the broader sense, that people watch with their dads, with their uncles, and kind of had some sort of shared experience with. And you get that all throughout Creed because it's a lovingly done sequel. It's both advancing the franchise while being really beholden to it in a way that's amazing and insightful and shows how great of a storyteller and filmmaker Ryan Coogler is. This is beyond fan fiction. This is beyond just being in love with the Rocky films. This shows someone who contextualized it and understand the right moves for Adonis Creed and Rocky Balboa in this film. He's not having Rocky Balboa simply become Mickey. He's not having Adonis Creed simply become Rocky. They're their own characters. He's recontextualized it and understand the universal themes of Rocky and how he can evolve them to a new generation, and not in a soulless, like, we're going to make our big financial quarter earnings back on it. This is something he wanted to do. This isn't something Stallone was trying to do, and you can feel that all throughout it. This feels more genuine than any franchise entry I've ever seen before, because it comes out of a place of love and understanding to what these films represent, but also taking on the new. Apollo Creed's illegitimate son, Adonis Creed, who was born after Apollo Creed died. Adonis Creed, his mother died and was living in foster homes and various juvenile detention centers until Apollo Creed's former wife, played by Felicia Rashad in this film, who did not actually play his wife in the previous film. Some people think that for some reason, but didn't. But it's, I understand why you would. Just because you haven't seen them or you're racist. She takes Adonis in to live with her in the Creed mansion, where many years later, after being highly educated and going to school, is working in a financial investment firm and is getting promoted and is doing well, but on the weekends is going to Tijuana to have boxing matches, and that's really what he wants to do. And he decides to give up his good paying job and living in the Creed mansion to go to Philadelphia and train with the guy who Apollo Creed fought with most famously, which is Rocky Balboa. And he goes and meets Rocky, and Rocky, after being reluctant at first, takes Adonis Creed under his wing, even though he's decided to call himself Adonis Johnson or Don Johnson. Oh, why isn't he called Don Johnson? That just hit me. Anyway, sorry. He decides to start fighting, and then word leaks out that he is Apollo Creed's son, and then suddenly he is asked to go into a huge title fight in Liverpool, England, for a guy who's just trying to make some money before he goes into jail. And Rocky trains him to go under one of the biggest title fights of his life to finally prove himself as his own man, rather than just the son of Apollo Creed. One of the smartest things Ryan Coogler did is not try to make a different kind of of movie structurally, but have different characters in it. This is very much a Rocky movie. And that's not to say it's about Rocky Balboa. It is. I mean, Rocky Balboa is in it, but it's really about Adonis Creed and Michael B. Jordan's performance as Adonis Creed and what Adonis Creed represents. The Adonis Creed character and doing things that are appropriate for that character, but it's in the structure of a Rocky film. If you've seen Rocky films, this feels very much within that world. This film is most like the original Rocky film. They reference pretty much the whole franchise, but they do reference 4 quite a bit, although they never mention Drago by name. It understands what we love about the Rocky films, the redemption quality to it. Giving him a different redemption story is that he has to prove himself as a fighter, but he also has something to live up to. I really like that about it. I think it understood how to be a really audience-friendly movie while still being the kind of independent film that the first Rocky felt like. I've read a couple interviews with people who made Creed, and they've all commented how if you watch the first Rocky film, it feels more like an independent film now that plays at Sundance. Ryan Coogler kind of brought that to Creed. He understood that before these films got, really grand in scale and really high budgeted and became these massive blockbusters, the first Rocky film felt smaller in scope and felt independent, and even the Steadicam stuff was really new at the time. They're doing a lot of crazy, what you'd consider kind of indie movie stuff, and Ryan Coogler brings that feel to it. He's almost contextualizing it and doing it for a certain effect and reason for it, which actually makes it work a lot better than his previous film, Fruitville Station. I feel like this shows a giant leap forward for him technically as a director. He worked with a different cinematographer in this film and does some really great shots. The cinematographer, whose name I'm going to butcher, Marci Alberti, just an amazing one-shot boxing match, which at first you don't notice. I mean, I'd read about it before, but I didn't know when it was coming, and at first you don't notice it, but it really gets the thrill of the boxing match. It's like midway through the film, and it's amazing. And this is the first Rocky film that Stallone didn't write or direct. He had no creative involvement. Apparently he was an advisor and a producer, but he didn't have much involvement beyond that, which is kind of amazing because Stallone is very controlling over the Rocky films. This is really a passing of the torch, both for the character of Adonis Creed and behind the scenes for Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler to take over the franchise, which is cool of Sylvester Stallone to do. It almost feels like he really ended the franchise with Rocky Balboa, and this is the next generation, but it's the next generation who really respects the format and really respects the structure and understands what these mean to an audience. They're not just making a sad movie where Rocky's sick. They want you to stand up and cheer and be amazed and love this movie, just like you used to with all the Rocky films. Believe in redemption. You really believe in yourself. You're like, I'm going to hit the gym. I'm finally going to do that thing. Fuck these people. I don't care anymore. And that energy's all throughout Creed, and it's so amazing to view. I just really love this film. Creed is like everything you want in not just a sports movie, but an audience-friendly, like blockbuster drama that we don't get anymore. It's like a small drama that makes you believe in yourself. It hits you emotionally. I saw this on a Monday night. The crowd was packed and people were crying, people were emotional, people were cheering. It was an insane feeling seeing this film. I'd seen Rocky with an audience before and that was amazing, but this was just, nobody had seen it, but maybe someone had, I don't know. But it felt like most of the audience hadn't, and they're just brought to their feet by this film. I saw so many tears throughout this film, how emotional it was, and it struck a chord with everyone that feels beautiful in that Hollywood way, but almost feels un-Hollywood also, which is what made the first Rocky film so great. It felt like something different and new and an underdog story. Everyone feels that they're an underdog, and everyone can relate to that because they feel like they'll never make it and they have so much to go up against. And this taps into that core human quality, that thing we can all relate to that made the Rocky film so great that Ryan Coogler gets. This is definitely Ryan Coogler's announcement to the Hollywood mainstream that I can make a Hollywood movie, and I think he did it a lot better than a lot of people did. Most indie directors who go into Hollywood movies have to give up their soul and feel like kind of Hollywood yes men. He's doing what you're supposed to do as a studio director, but he's bringing his own take on it. The boxing scenes are just fucking amazing. Like, the end boxing scene is amazing. Emotionally, it's well written and well structured, and you feel it in your gut, but you're also like, holy shit, that guy went down. This is the film that's really going to announce to people about Michael B. Jordan as a leading man, and thank fucking god, because he is so good in this movie. I've been waiting so long for this guy to have more lead roles. I thought Fruitvale Station showed it, but none of them have really materialized. I guess Fantastic Four, but the less said about that, the better. Adonis Creed isn't trying to be Rocky, and he's not trying to be Apollo Creed. He's really his own character, and he's really well customly made for Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler are the new actor-director team to really watch, although they've already kind of proven it, so you should just continue watching them and stop acting like they have all this promise, because they do have all this promise, but they've certainly proven it with these last two films, and they work so well together. I think he brings out some of the best performances of Michael B. Jordan, but he's one of those actors who he doesn't need a director to bring out his best performance in them, but Ryan Coogler seems to get that out of him. A lot of what Ryan Coogler does is casting, but he still manages to get some terrific performances out of these people who are great actors, from Felicia Rashad to Tessa Thompson. She was just amazing. The romance between Adrian and Rocky were always important in the other Rocky films, and the romance between Adonis and Bianca, it brings it home, but it has that quality to it that the first Rocky film and Creed are about maturity, is proving like, I can do it. I can be this man I've always wanted to be. I can be this adult. I can be this mature person that no one says I could. And a lot of that is having, I mean, not to be judgmental or anything, but I think a major part of the Rocky films is about having a major relationship, and as Rocky had with Adrian, Creed has with Bianca. Bianca doesn't feel like Adrian in much the way that Creed doesn't feel like Rocky, which again is what makes this film work so well. Both Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson give star-making roles. They're just simply amazing. They know how to do a Hollywood performance, but they're very real in their performances that you don't see from a lot of Hollywood actors. You almost feel like you're really there with them in the sub shop. That most Hollywood actors, it feels like they're kind of playing it, eating a meal. It feels like these people can really hang out. There's a reality to these performances that you really don't expect from a film like this. And Sylvester Stallone probably gives one of the best performances in his whole career. He feels vulnerable. It's emotional to see him get sick, see him become Mickey. He's actually the same age that Burgess Meredith was in the original Rocky, which is interesting. Not the character. I mean, maybe the character, but Sylvester Stallone's the same age as Burgess Meredith was when he filmed Rocky. It's interesting to see him take on that role. Obviously, he's taken on the trainer role before in Rocky 5, but this is very much more of the Burgess Meredith thing. He doesn't fight in this film. It's not named Rocky 7, it's named Creed. And Stallone is very protective of these films, and he should be. It's what made him a star, but he's very smartly and maturely passing the torch on in a way that shows he's ready to continue the tradition of these films and understand the universal themes of this and what it means to everyone, really. I love Stallone because he feels like Rocky. He knows how to play Rocky better than anyone ever could. He brings that understanding, but he feels like Rocky. It's not like he took Rocky and made him Burgess Meredith. He's Rocky as a trainer. Coogler and his co-writer Aaron Covington, who did use Sylvester Stallone as an advisor, got how to use each of these characters and make them their own throughout that structure, that Rocky structure that we're all used to. And that's what made this film so amazing and stunning, and even using the original Bill Conti score in a lot of this, while also using kind of more hip-hop stuff. It really felt like that transition movie, although it's mainly a Creed film. It's mainly about Adonis Creed and him becoming a boxer, and I really loved how masterfully they did that. It became something that I never really thought a franchise could do, showing what a franchise means to people. The fact that this wasn't developed by a studio, that was developed as kind of an idea from an independent filmmaker, because the Rocky films represented something to him. And I think the Rocky films do represent something. They represent redemption. They represent believing in something and believing that you can become better, and seeing those montages and falling in love and becoming a better person. And I think the reason people cried and were cheering and why it meant something is because Rocky meant something to all of us. I think Ryan Coogler understood that better than any director ever could, so he's almost the perfect choice, is because he wants that to continue. And maybe that's where franchise filmmaking should be. It should be by people who have an emotional investment in that franchise, and it meant something to them growing up. It's such a rich, amazing film, and it makes me more excited for Ryan Coogler. This shows he's very, very smart in terms of taking on a Hollywood production. There's a lot of indie directors who don't have a lot of experience, who move on on to major Hollywood type films, and you don't really see them in it. It's basically like they're there to just make the acting good. And he's not just there to do that. He's there to take on the Rocky franchise and make it his own. And I think to know how to continue this franchise and make a new entry that really stands on its own and becomes one of the best Rocky films, but one of the best boxing films I've seen in recent memory, and best sports films I've definitely seen all year, and lets Creed stand on its own as one of the great Hollywood productions and great sequels and great reboots that really makes you stand on your feet and love Rocky all over again, but also love that spirit that this whole franchise brings to you. So if you have seen Creed and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to. I would really like either him to fight Ivan Drago or Ivan Drago's son. Dolph Lundgren's got to be involved in a sequel. That's just got to happen, right? I mean, come on. If they don't do it in 2, I feel like it should happen. I would like these to keep going. I would like 7 Creed movies. Oh man, I would be into it. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, thank you for watching.